lot of races closer than they should have been. And I think that
Listen to AOC call people in the black community stupid because the point of the matter is they want to pass the vote. They want to put this filibuster in and destroy the voting rights and put this new all of this fraud into the voting rights where they have people with no IDs voting, and they trying to do that in the our communities, in the urban communities. That's what they focused on. So they don't have our consent to do that because she basically saying we don't care because we don't understand. No, we do understand. We understand that y'all already gonna try to have this shit fixed from the beginning. So, you know what I mean? So we just letting y'all fight this out yourselves. So don't stop thinking that we don't understand what's going on. Just like I understood what you meant when you said what you said. Now listen to her. Basically, she's gonna say people that don't understand. When she's saying the people that don't understand and they don't, but about their community, she's talking about African Americans. Now, watch when the commentator is gonna try to he gonna think she's talking about Joe Manchin because he tried to throw it off, and then she's gonna say no, Joe Manchin don't have African American population in their hoods. So she basically think we stupid, but we don't like you, and your own people don't like you. You just a big media, a big tech prop. Okay, so stop offending us, cause I'm offended by this.
your assessment is correct, that there's the majority, I think, are quite concerned, but I think that there are some members that, represent communities that have
Black
never
people.
really had their right to vote attacked in a way. They don't
So-
represent communities for which this is a very real.
So just listen, when she said they ain't really had, that's like she's really trying to say they ain't really had, meaning like the people don't got nothing. But that's coded because she thinks she's slick and she's trying to say what she say and like, you know what I mean, like for the people who understand. So when she said that not really had, listen how she put the emphasis on that word and the word after that, because those are disrespectful terms. Look at her eyes, she's a fucking cokehead. Fuck out of here.
That were taken very much to the brink during the Trump administration, which culminated in January 6th.
Liar.
And those who, I think there's just some folks that have unwavering faith in American institutions that really don't have a lot of evidence for why our institutions would not be vulnerable. We saw what happened on January 6th. And I think it's really important for folks to connect this to January 6th, because the reason those people stormed that Capitol was because of the
This ain't it. It's coming up right now what I'm talking about. Just listen to her.
It was because of the election challenges. It was because voter suppression made a lot of races closer than they should have been. And I think that your assessment is correct.
They call white
I think,
people.
are quite concerned, but
They
I
trying to
think
say that the
there
white
are
people
some
shouldn't be united as
members
white
that,
people. White people don't. No,
represent
listen.
communities that
Nobody
have
don't
never
care
really
about
had
what the
their
white
right to
community
vote
do.
attacked,
Like we jealous of
in a
them.
way. They
Who
don't
jealous of
represent
them?
communities for which
Nobody
this
care.
is
Yo,
a very
listen.
real threat.
The white
And so I
community
think they don't think
is
it
respected.
is as real as it very
Listen to her. Listen to her. I'm off what I was talking.
members that represent communities that have never really had their right to vote attacked in a way. They don't represent communities for which this is a very real threat. And so I think they don't think it is as real as it.
No, we
very
know
much
it's real,
is.
dummy. We know you fake,
Are you talking
and
about,
he
is that
fake.
Joe Manchin reference there?
No.
Or are you talking about anyone in
Well,
particular?
I think Joe Manchin is
She's talking about
absolutely
African
one of them.
Americans.
I mean, Joe Manchin represents a state that is not very diverse. Joe Manchin does not represent a very large population of black voters whose right to vote is constantly under attack. And so I can't help but wonder aloud. I see this as well in the House of Representatives, how.
So I'm gonna tell y'all the fraud right now. I'm gonna display to y'all the fraud, right? The only reason they want to pass this bill because black people don't vote. And being that the black people don't vote, they can take all of the black people that don't vote and steal their votes and make them vote. So that's what the Democrats have in their playbook. That's why they want because they basically did that in this last election. They took a whole bunch of people that wasn't supposed to vote, names and stuff like that. They put it in the voting pools, and they act like these people filled them out. And they had somebody bringing all these ballots filled out by people that was actually people, but that was done in communities, and then they was pooling. So now that if they can pool in every African American community, all they got to get is the people that's not voting and vote for them, knowing these people don't care and not gonna check. And that 20% of people that they can still can still a vote. And they don't want people to know that African Americans are voting Republican. So that's what they really don't want. So by them stealing the African American votes and then putting them and saying they voted in pools, these pools, and then they're gonna say that, yeah, look, the African Americans is voting Democrats, the African Americans are gonna vote Republican. Sorry. And everybody know y'all all lying on big media. So y'all gotta really, really, like, y'all make yourself look stupid when y'all do stuff like this. Like, nobody understand and can read between it. It's like real pathetic. Like, let's see what she's talking about now. Bet you it's some more crap.
And so, I think that this is still a very critical issue. But, I do think on that note of political preservation, one thing that is not being discussed about, and I do think it should be talked about more, is the fact that H.R. 1 is one of the most assertive bills that we have to tackle dark money in politics. And so there are two very key components in H.R. 1 in the For the People Act. One is a forceful and very strong provisions and laws to combat outright voter suppression. And these are proposals, and if passed, it would essentially preempt changes to state law. So it would protect people's actual right to vote. But the other aspect of this is that H.R. 1 stands up against lobbyists and dark money. And I would reckon to think that this is probably just as much a part of Joe Manchin's calculus as anything else.
Oh,
because
God.
when it comes to this bipartisan argument, I gotta tell you, I don't buy it. Because Joe Manchin has voted for bills that have not been bipartisan before. Look at the American Rescue Plan. So this is not just about bipartisanship. This is, I think, because you look at the Koch brothers and you look at, organizations like the Heritage Foundation and conservative lobby groups that are doing a victory lap, claiming victory over the fact that Manchin refuses to change on the filibuster. And I think that these two things are very closely intertwined. And I think that there's a desire to make this just about protecting the franchise, but protecting our democracy is also about making sure that we give lobbyists and dark money groups, which are funding these attacks, on the right to vote.
You are the most funded person ever.
Corporate money has a very, very tight grip on both parties. And I think that has to do with the calculus in this situation that people aren't really discussing enough.
Yeah, it's a very good point. I mean, I bracket for a second my own feeling about like what the Roberts Court would do with the dark money provisions of H.R. 1, which that's a sort of